Howdy folks, Terry Family Adventures here. It's a Saturday. We're having fountain drinks. And today we're working on the Under Armour plating on the Jeep. We'll show you how it's done.
I'll be helping him today. My name is James. I'm his loving son. No? Not funny?
Oh, that's fine.
Okay. I was trying to be funny. I wanted you to laugh.
Oh, you should have told me that. So this is the oil pan.
Yep.
Your sump pump is in here, which is basically your oil pump. It pulls off of the bottom of the oil pan and shoots the oil up into the rest of the engine. So kind of a vital point. I mean, like, this is the transmission, it's got a plastic cover. This is the front half of the engine, it's got a plastic cover. At some point we'll be replacing those with metal too, but today this is exposed, and so we're going to remedy this situation right here. And so first thing we're going to do is we're going to bust out our tape measure. I'm going to measure from our widths here. It's about 22 inches, but we actually don't have a choice because the piece of steel that I acquired is 21 inches wide, which will be that wide right there from fingers to fingers, which will obviously be wide enough to cover the area that we're going to cover here. And so before you go cutting on the metal, find a cheaper, a less expensive way to make the exact same part so that you have a template to work on. I've cut this piece of cardboard right here to be, let's see here, I've cut it at 22.5 inches by, and then the other way is the 21 inches obviously, because that's the size that we're dealing with here, so that I can stick it into place. I can see how it's going to fit. So it's going to fit pretty nicely. There's this little gap in here. Oh, see, I'm glad that I did this because now I've noticed the problem. I've got these two bolts right here that look like they hold some part of the steering components in. They hang down further than anything else that I've got here. So I'm going to have to we'll just take and we'll cut a corner off of our template here so that we can still hit these bolts to hold this plastic piece in and not hit these bolts to hold some steering component in that I really don't want to mess around with. So let me grab a measuring device and I'll be right back. Alright, I was just looking at this piece of cardboard here and I realized that it's cardboard and that I've got those bolts that I want to cut around. And so what I've done is I've positioned this cardboard in the spot that it's going to be, and then I'm just going to take my hand and press into press a print of those bolts into the cardboard. Here, pop, snap, crackle. Look at that. Now we have perfect imprints into our cardboard of those bolts so that we can deal with this. And so we've got our cardboard template here, and we've pulled out from under the Jeep, and we're over here on the bench here. And we've got this T-square, but it also does 45-degree angle. And so we're just gonna cut off the 45-degree angles off of here, skipping our little bolt marks there. I'm just gonna cut her like that. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. So these bolt marks do not line up evenly under the Jeep. One of them is 7 inches from the outside edge of the Jeep, and the other one's 5. And so there's a 2-inch variance here. So our plate will be side specific by the time we're done with it. And so and then we just get the knife and cut it off. So. Now we'll stick it back up underneath the Jeep and see if it fits properly. Alright, so I've just punched the holes, you know, the bolts back through the holes to make holes in the cardboard here. And now I'm just gonna come up here and, like I said, we're gonna go ahead and bolt this cardboard into place. That way we know that it's right. Oh, see, and that one's not right. And see, that one's got to move over a little bit. So we can make that change right there. Use cardboard, you just push right through it. And then like that. That's how she's going to fit into place. Alright, that's awesome. Now, after that, we'll have to measure what's going to go on for the back side. Oh, my back. Sorry. Didn't mean to go somewhere. Put the cardboard in front of the camera. Alright, so I don't know if you guys can see me or not. So we're gonna come back here and we're gonna use this bolt hole because so when Jeep makes these, they make one frame. And so all the bolt holes for the Trailhawk and its Under Armour, and then the aftermarket Mopar armor you can buy, like all the holes are here, and so we're going to use their holes. We obviously don't have the little clips that are inside, like on the front here, but they got the nice little clips. We don't have the ones for back here, but the holes right here and right there go all the way through the frame. And so we're going to take my Harbor Freight, not a sponsor, calipers here, and we're going to measure how big this hole is. That's pretty tight fit. It's got a lot of paint, so let's see here. 0.5, so that's a 1/2 inch. So that works. And then we have this one down here. Now it's actually wider. It's oblong, and so we'll have to go on the short side. Oh look, I knew it'd be the same. It's 1/2 inch. So we're gonna end up buying 1/2 inch bolts, and then I'm going to measure how thick this is, and I don't really want to remove this, but I can measure from this side. There's a little lip here, but we can always do some subtractive math. And so I'm going to use my handy dandy calipers here and measure that. And I don't know if you can read that or not, but it's 3 inches on the money. And so then,
yep, when you start dealing with hundredths of an inch, it doesn't really matter.
Going to measure the depth right here, and I'm going to use the little posty thing out the back of the calipers here to measure that part. And it slopes, but I guess I probably ought to.
It's angled, actually.
So from right there, 0.36. Oh no, by the time you get out here, it's probably a 1/2 inch. That's all right. I've got a piece of rubber. I'm going to show you how we're going to spread this gap right now. All right, folks. So yes, that is a trucker's mud flap. I found it on the side of the road. You can see where the bolt holes, it's been ripped right out. Some trucker, I mean, they lost it. It's made out of rubber, so I'm going to cut it into strips, drill holes in it, and we're going to use that to bridge the gap between the steel, our steel plate, and our bolt holes. We can use it like a gasket or a washer, sound deadening. Like, it's gonna serve multiple purposes. Wave to the camera, James. Alright, so I'm on here at the backside, and I've got the half-inch drill bit that I'm going to be using to drill the hole through the steel, and it's like 5.5 inches long, and so the frame is only 3-something inches long, and so this will poke all the way through to the other side so that I can get a nice straight poke on it. And so I'm going to stick it up through the frame. I know you can't see this, and then stick it up into there, and then I'm going to come back here behind here and pinch it with my fingers, because remember there's that gap where we're going to fill with rubber. That gap is there, and so I should have no problem making a little mark. Yeah, that made a mark on the back side of this, and then I can do the same thing on this side. Take and make a little mark of where that one's going to be. And now, I mean, that side's bolted into place, so I got to take this out of here now. Alright, so you come over here, you take your piece of cardboard, and we're going to trace it onto our metal piece. We're going to cut off the edges, and then we're going to drill the holes. And just like that, we're done. We got our holes cut in the front, or drilled in the front here, holes drilled in the back. My drill topped out at 3/8 of an inch, and so that's what size we're going with. If it becomes an issue, we'll figure out a way to cut bigger holes and use bigger bolts. But we went to the hardware store and we bought grade 8 bolts and nuts and some washers, and we're going to bolt this thing into place and make sure the fitment's correct. Stay tuned for the next episode. And James says, remember to roll the edges.
Like and subscribe, comment and share. We love you.